Welcome to the Nacogdoches Rd Church of Christ. My name is David Jordan. I am the evangelist here at the local congregation, and today is Wilderness Wednesday. We're going to talk about Exodus chapter 21, the Hebrew servant. Well, in Exodus chapter 20, we come to the Ten Commandments. And after the Ten Commandments, there comes from Exodus 21 to Exodus 25, the judgments and the statutes. And so we're going to talk about one of those, and we find it in Exodus chapter 21, verses 1 through 6. Well, it talks about if there comes a time that an Israelite is to buy a Hebrew servant, well, he can do so. But that servant would serve for 6 years, but on the seventh year, he would be made free. And so when you got to the seventh year, there was a couple of things that need to be understood. Well, when it was that first year, when that servant came in, did he come in by himself? If he came in by himself, then on that seventh year, he can leave by himself and pay nothing. If he came in with a wife, well, then he can also leave the same with his wife and pay nothing. However, if he did come in by himself, and while within those 6 years, he gained a wife and he gained children, well, at the seventh year, that Hebrew servant could go free. However, his wife and his servant would belong to his master. And so therefore, there's a couple of things that would happen here. Either that servant can still leave, or that Hebrew servant can plainly say, I love my children and I love my wife, and I shall not go out. Well, if he was to make that announcement to his master, well, then therefore the master would take him to the door or the doorpost, which is at the tabernacle, and he would pierce his ear with an awl. What most people don't understand today is, as Christians, we also have a pierced ear before God spiritually. And so we find in Psalms 110, verse 3, it simply states there that in the day of your power, your people shall be volunteers. Well, in Psalms 110, it's actually talking about Jesus. And today we have voluntarily became Christians through baptism. And when that happens, we have to understand, because you have volunteered, you have also pierced your ear. Why don't you please come join us at the Nacogdoches Rd Church of Christ here in San Antonio, Texas. And remember, strength and honor, my friends.